Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time. Now, wherever and whenever you happen to be when you're listening to this recording, that you are able to take a deep breath and lean back on your own soul. This is a visualization that was just given to me by Divine Creator for all of us. And I've been doing this for about maybe 48 hours now, maybe a little less. And the visualization of it just came to me a few minutes ago. So what this is if you can imagine, just close your eyes if you're not driving. If you're able to, do it later, maybe in your mind's eye you could see it while you're driving. But if you're able to close your eyes, do so. If not, don't worry about it. But just imagine how bright your soul is. How big, luminous, bright, shining, radiant with love and perfect your soul is. Literally, the spark of the Creator. A visualization for how bright it is might be brighter than the sun. Or if you've ever seen magnesium burning, hopefully if you did see it, it wasn't for too long, because magnesium burning can actually blind you. It's that bright. So if you can imagine that your soul is behind you. Now, I don't know if you want to visualize it like a big, giant egg-shaped blob, or shaped like your body but perfect, or, like the Greendale human being from the TV show Community. I don't know how you want to visualize it, but imagine that however you see it. It's behind you, backing you up. It's this energy behind you that always has got your back. So imagine that it's perfect, it's wonderful, it's pure, whole, clear, concise, existing in perfect clarity of God's love. And this is what is backing you, literally. Now imagine where you're at right now. You've got your crises, your traumas, your dramas, your, I don't know what, sadnesses, PTSD, anxiety, depression, sadness, betrayal. And even though you've worked very hard to get rid of most of these things, if not all of them, there's still patterns in your body, and sometimes they're physical manifestations of not having dealt with the emotional stuff in time. And you can maybe see that there's like a matrix in your body that has all these patterns, and I see it as kind of like almost like a wire mesh, kind of like an energetic field that's like wire mesh, and there's like lines going through different parts of it, cutting off my energy to my source. And I don't know why the original movie Tron, there's something about the graphics that were on the movie poster kind of come to mind. I can't even really picture it clearly, but that's what's it's like a little faint memory. I remember I went to the movies to see that movie, and I went to the theater and I sat down. I was the only one in the middle of the afternoon, middle of the week in Santa Barbara. And I sat there and I'm like, this is going to be such a good movie. And I got my popcorn, I had my soda by myself, playing hooky. No one knew I was there. And I sat back and I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And about 5 minutes into the movie, I fell asleep. And I woke up and it was over. I have no idea what the movie's about, and they didn't have another showing for the day, so I've never seen that movie. But there's something about the movie poster. I used to go to that movie theater a lot, actually. I have a couple of memories of just going and watching things totally by myself. Didn't tell anyone I was going to go. And just, that was like my secret afternoon. That once a week I do that when I lived in Santa Barbara. I love the movies. I've always loved the movies. But it's like one of my happy places. The beach and the movies in the forest. So anyway, I want you to visualize and imagine all of this stuff, the junk, however you visualize it. It might be blobs or black spots or green lines, however you see the stuff that you have worked so hard at overcoming. And there might be still some stuff that you haven't quite overcome. It's still there. You know, like I've accepted for years that my husband died, but there's still pieces and parts and bits of the grief. Like I don't go around comparing every man to him or anything like that. I don't at all. I'm totally over it for the most part. But every now and again, it strikes me how much I miss that connection when it was good, in the happy days. And I miss just doing nothing together, just watching TV, laughing, cooking, just things that are considered boring. I miss those things. And so, I mean, at least from my angle, it was true love. From his, I don't know. I can't say. I don't know another man's heart. I only know my own. But I know that there's like a sadness there. There's still some grief there. So if I imagine all this that's in there, in my body, and I could imagine like my body's like a hologram projected, and I see the little bits and pieces and parts that aren't 100% whole. Like, do you guys remember Light Bright? It was one of my favorite toys, and I had like 2 or 3 of them over the course of my childhood. I don't know what happened to them. Like, you know, maybe because like I ran out of the black paper, you know, with the patterns in it. And so then my parents would like throw it away, and then a couple years later they'd buy me a new one. It's like, I think it like kept disappearing. I think they just kept throwing it away. Just really weird. So why'd you throw something away and then just buy it again a year later? Anyway, Light Bright, if you don't know what I'm talking about, is basically a light bulb inside of like it wasn't quite square. It was kind of a triangular shaped box, basically. It looks like an old Mac computer. The really pretty colored ones. It was kind of almost like that shape. And there's like a light bulb inside it, and it's just very simple. And you plug it in. The light bulbs got insanely hot. I mean, it probably warped the plastic if I left it plugged in too long. Maybe that's what happened to it. My parents are just like, that's broken, throw it away. We'll buy another one next year. But it came with these little teeny tiny colored, really pretty colored plastic pegs, and you slip in this black paper, and the black paper had little instructions for different designs. And so it would be like little R if you put a red peg in, or P for purple, okay? And then you'd put in all the colored pegs, and then you would turn it on, and it was like, ooh, nice, pretty, shiny, bright lights. So, I don't know, I'm thinking about this right now exactly, but it's kind of, if you were to project your body outward, and you see where all the lights are lit up, maybe they're colored, maybe they're just all white, you know, you might have a different visualization about it than me. It might be like a pale blue, or like a green, even a pink, you know. And you just imagine the places in your body that are lit up and they feel okay. And then you start noticing the places that have no light. There's a blockage there. So once you imagine all this, you kind of got it, all the places and spaces in which you need healing or light to enter. You don't have to know what it is. If you want to know what every part of your body means when you have a blockage in that area, I did do a really good episode called Body Syndromes in season 1. That was last year. I think it was in the first half of the year. It might have been a year ago. Maybe a little bit less. But, like, for example, legs are fight syndrome is your arms. Flight syndrome are your legs. Because if you get afraid of something and you run away from it, if you escape and you have escapist tendencies, you might have issues with your legs, especially if you want to run and you can't. If you're stuck in a situation that you hate, you might end up with knee pain or arthritis in your feet, or even problems in your lower hips, for example. And if you have problems with your lungs like me, it's intense repressed grief, and I have a lot of sorrow. I've had a lot of sorrow in my life, so I know that. It's like when I have extra problems with my lungs, I have to ask God, hey, help me figure out why am I so sad? What am I not feeling or consciously aware of that's stuck in my lungs right now? I want to get it out. Then I might have a day or two of just crying, absolutely being sad as hell to get it out. I just started processing something that happened 20 years ago, like just this afternoon. It's when my grandpa died. I only met him once in person. I talked to him on the phone several times. I met my mother when I was 31 because I was adopted, and I went back, and I met my brother for the first time on his wedding day. And the whole family was there. My mom invited us to come out so that everyone could meet my baby, who was 3 months old at the time. Now she's 20 years old. And I got to meet my whole family. I got to really spend quality time talking to my little cousins. They're grown with the kids of their own now. And I got to meet my brother, and I got to hang out with my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, my aunts and uncles. And it was like I was coming home to people that I missed my whole life. Like the people that raised me, I have nothing in common with them. I love them, but it's like nails on a chalkboard just to have a conversation with them. And they're not bad people, and they're really amazing, loving, great people. They're good people, but I have nothing in common with my cousin Christine a little bit, and I love her dearly, and her mom, I love her. But everybody else, it's like really painful to have conversations, for me anyway. Because it's like there's nothing, I can't bring up any of my spiritual stuff, and even the mundane everyday stuff, like if I want to talk about a new breakthrough in psychology or therapy, no one would want to talk to me about that. They'd want to talk to me about, I don't know, snack foods and football. And I don't know, my uncle, he likes golf. I don't know, there really isn't a lot of conversations I've had with my family since I became an adult where I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to have another conversation with these people. Even though, if they contact me, I love them so much. But there's nothing. When I got in the middle of my family, my real, I shouldn't say my real family, but my birth family, the people I'm genetically connected to. Every conversation was exciting and amazing. My little cousin, especially Terry, he's interested in UFOs. He's interested in ghost hunting and the paranormal and metaphysical things and spiritual things. I think his sister might have been interested in meditation. My other cousin wasn't so spiritual, but she got a degree in filmmaking. She's a writer. She makes movies. Everything I'm interested in is, they're writers, they're performers. My brother makes movies. He's got like a 5-picture deal with Warner Brothers. Everything that I'm interested in, my family's interested in. And it's like, wow, it's like crazy. Like we're some kind of like a soul group. Why the hell did my mom give me away? Because I have so much in common with everybody. My grandpa's Cherokee. I'm interested in Native American wisdom. It's like everything with my birth family is like, it made me feel so loved and welcomed, and I finally frickin' belong somewhere, right? And so I started having this pain in my heart of missing my grandpa. He grew up on the Cherokee lands, and he just had like a quiet, peaceful wisdom about him that just makes me cry now because I missed out on a lifetime of knowing him. So those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. Like when you might not even be aware that it's upsetting you, and then all of a sudden, there it is, pops up, because you haven't dealt with it yet, right? So this is something that God taught me, and like this visualization He gave me a few minutes ago, really, like about 25 minutes ago, really helped me when I did it. It only takes a couple seconds. Okay, so imagine that your soul's behind you. It's perfect. All the grief is gone. All the frustration and the irritation of life, the annoyances, the petty differences you've had with people you might be holding on to. Maybe because they're like a parent or a child or your sibling. All that stuff is completely clear. It's gone. It doesn't exist in your soul, but exists in your body if it's unexpressed emotion, right? Because it becomes physical. So imagine that. So your soul's behind you, and here you are the way you are right now. Close your eyes and project in front of you all the things that are wrong. Like a light bright, or like graphics from Tron. I don't know how you're going to do it, but those are the ways that my mind manifests it in my vision, mental vision. So anyway, then you just imagine your body and you lean back into your own soul. And you're bathing yourself in white light of your soul. And the longer you imagine and visualize that you're bathing in the white light of your soul, and you can imagine it has gold flakes in it. So it's like a golden white light, like the sun itself, like it used to be when I was a kid anyway. And you imagine that you're bathing in this white light, and the more that you imagine this, the more you visualize this, what happens is it starts to break up and dissipate all of the things that you are not. You are not your grief. You are not your sorrow. You are not your unrequited love. You are not your anger. You are not your inability to escape a bad situation. You're not the bad situation. You're not any of those things. You're not your sexual frustration. You're not your sexual guilt. You're not guilt. You're not frustration. For you are and always will remain a perfect child of God, a spark off the great divine. You're perfect, you're love. And when you have this clarity of vision of that, and you lean back into it, it will dissipate. It's like bathing, like when you step into a bath and you take that sponge and you're just running that over your body and you're loosening the dirt or whatever, dead skin cells or just smells, odors, BO, just the energy of the day. You're just taking that down with your, with your washcloth or your sponge or whatever, and you're just, as you're bathing yourself, and you could imagine that you're bathing yourself in the light of your own soul. You could say the light of God. You could do this outside in the actual sun. Social distance. But you could do this in the light of the actual sun, and just imagine that that's your soul. Imagine, put your back to the sun and imagine you're leaning back into it. And imagine that that's your own soul, right? That might be helpful because you get the heat on your back as well. And as you do it, it just all dissipates and it lifts off. It's like a filter. And it's shaking loose the dirt, shaking loose the energy that you no longer need. The false ideas you have about yourself. You think you're old or fat or not good looking or not desirable, or your personality is flawed, or I don't know what you think about yourself, but I know things that I think about myself or have thought about myself in the past. I mean, sometimes I've thought of things about myself in the past that I no longer think, but yet the energy of having thought that in the past is still stuck in my body. So I need to release that. Let it go. So just bathe in the light of your own soul, whenever and wherever you are. Doesn't matter. You could just close your eyes for a moment, lean back into your own soul, and imagine it bathing that anxiety, bathing that depression, bathing that anger. It's bathing that sadness. It's, it's just abating everything. It's getting rid of all of those emotions you no longer need. So that's the visualization God gave me today. And of course, I'm sharing it with you because we all are one and we all need, these tools. They're helpful to help us get to where we need to be. And I started to, I haven't quite formulated it in words yet, but I'm starting to learn more about that Christ consciousness energy, like basically what Jesus was or what he had, that energy. I'm reading about it. I'm learning more about it. I think that this exercise I just gave you is like the first step towards achieving that Christ consciousness within you. Now, I don't want you to hear the words Christ consciousness in a negative light from, there's 3 or 4 people I've seen on YouTube or Instagram saying that's a false ascension energy, that's just not of the light at all, Archangel Michael is really the devil. I have heard people say weird crap like this, and they're just absolutely operating from their own subconscious programming, their own subconscious minds. And I see it clearly now. It's weird. I look at what people write and I just see it, and I could tell whether they're of the light or not, if they're really 100% clear or not. I opened up all 12 of my chakras, and I still work with it. It's not like you open it and it's good to go forever. You have to still make sure they're all spinning the exact same rate. All 12 have to spin the same exact rate. I have to cleanse my aura, cleanse my chakras. I cleanse my mental body, my emotional body, my spiritual body, which is also, I think, called the astral or etheric body. Along with physical body, I still take the negative energy out of all these every day. Sometimes several times a day, depends on what's going on. But, I just stayed off of Instagram today. Today, somebody wrote some pretty bizarre stuff to me today that it was in relationship to something. The Mormon lady I mentioned the other day that I had been praying for. And she got off on some sort of really strange tangents today. She started justifying her ideas of Christianity, which that usually happens. You can point something out to someone while they're being open-minded, and then they'll be interested in what you have to say for a moment, and then they will shut down and they'll push back, and then they will fight to defend their position, and then then the next step would just be abject hatred of you. So I didn't let her get to that section of it. I just shut it all down, and I just blocked all messages coming from her. So whatever she wants to write to me, whatever, I'm not going to hear it. It's over. I told her I'm no longer going to engage you. Basically, I said, I will fight no more forever. Because we weren't even fighting, but, which is stupid. I just pointed something out gently, and I said, this is the way I see it, but, thank you for being open-minded, and I felt all her pain and her forgiveness energy, that she couldn't forgive herself and she couldn't forgive others, and she's hiding behind a religion, and she's being spiritually and morally lazy. And I see that. But a lot of people are trained and taught to be spiritually and morally lazy. I will get my rewards in heaven. I will know if I did good or bad while I'm in heaven. I will deal with forgiveness energy when I'm in heaven. I will get my reward when I'm there. After I die, all this great stuff will happen to me. And people don't accept great stuff for them now. Not everybody, but a lot of people, they're stuck in that religion stuff. God exists outside of religion. Because if you weren't that particular religion, you'd never know about it. You'd never feel that energy. Because it wouldn't exist. It would just be inside that building that claims to be that religion. But because God created man and man created religion, we can feel the energy of God. Our Creator is always with us. He's inside us. We are literally a little mini God. We are a spark of the great divine. And I saw her energy patterns so clear. I saw the forgiveness one, and then today she was saying that the United States is a Christian country chosen by God to be such, and that even though me as a Muslim, I'm welcome in her country, but it's never going to be a Muslim country. And she started attacking me for my religion. She started blaming all of the pornography, child trafficking, sex stuff. She blamed all that crap on me, which I thought, that's interesting. I was just mentioning this stuff yesterday. I mean, in the connections with, I won't get into it, but you guys know, if you listened to my show yesterday, you know what I was talking about. And she blamed it on my religion, and then she put it on me personally, that I did all that. And I'm like, well, if you want to really get down to brass tacks, and I don't mean to be rude, but hey, the person who founded your religion was wanted he was a criminal in 14 states in the United States because he was having sex with a 14-year-old girl. And that's the guy that founded your religion. And I'm not saying anything about it one way or the other. I'm just pointing out a fact. It's in the history books. You could check it out. I mean, I learned about this from somebody who knew the history of the Mormon church because they were raised in it. They got out of it, and they started seeing it as a cult, and they're like, oh my God. So I didn't say all that to this person, but I just said, look, this is in the history books. This is a fact. And she was defending David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. Now, he was a spiritual narcissist. Remember, I've said to you guys many times that spiritual narcissists are extremely dangerous. He thought he was the Christ. He thought he was God. And he created a religious compound, and I think that was in Waco, Texas, actually. And that is where Steve Martin is from. Who contacted me the other day randomly. He is from Waco, Texas. You see how things are all tied together. So I'll probably from a distance work on this woman and her erroneous ideas. I did say to her, I hope you wake up soon. I actually said that too. I know you're spiritually asleep. I hope you do wake up soon. If you don't wake up in this life, you're going to wake up in the next life. But don't tell me that you are a Christian and you came from all these Christians and that's the way to be, when your so-called Christian ancestors slaughtered my native ancestors and stole our land. Those are 2 commandments you all broke. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. You broke these commandments. Maybe not her personally, but I said your ancestors broke these commandments to murder my ancestors and steal our land. So don't tell me that you are a so-called Christian coming from a long line of so-called Christians that are somehow better than the people you murdered and stole from. Because A, that's not acting within the confines of Christianity. And don't hide behind Jesus. You can't hide behind his robes, because he was not even a Christian himself. You can't say you're following this religion and you're following this person when you're doing nothing from that religion, those ideas from the Bible or the Torah, really. And you're not doing anything that this person did. I mean, the things that she said to me today were venomous. They were evil and mean-spirited. And I was completely calm, like I am right now. I was completely calm. And I just said a few things, pointed things out to her. And then I just said, but you know what? In the words of a very famous Native man from my country, I will fight no more forever. So I posted that. And then I blocked her completely. She wrote once. All I saw was the word rhetoric. I saw it. I'm like, oh man, I forgot to block her. Damn it. And I saw the word your rhetoric or whatever. And I blocked her immediately. And I just decided I'm not gonna engage. I told her I'm not gonna fight no more forever. She does not know who she is. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. They just don't. People just don't. A lot of people don't. And so, when people engage you and upset you, she didn't engage me in a way that upset me. I've been dealing with this a long, long time, trying to heal the planet, trying to heal things. And out of it, God, I had another 15 people add me today. Might be out of that conversation. Cracks me up. It's like, yeah, keep talking your weirdness, you're standing behind a spiritual narcissist who did not even, he was saying he was going to defend his compound, but Armageddon was coming, and I believe that they bombed their own, like the government attacked them, so the government was in the wrong, but they didn't do anything to give up the kids, to allow the kids to live. And a lot of little kids were murdered as a result of this. And she was standing behind David Koresh. Are you kidding me right now? He made up his own religion. He wasn't even a Christian. And he allowed all the people that followed him to die. He just literally led them to death. And she was using that. And she was saying that he defended his own religion, and that's why the U.S. will always be Christian. She was off on a wildness thing. I don't even want to go into it. I'm not going to ever read it again. But I don't know, when you hear these kinds of things or anything and I heard there's a lot of weird and false information out there, not just from her, the weird attacking energy has come up several times this week, and I'm going to be off Instagram for a couple days. If you guys write me, though, I'll see it, and I'll write you back. I've been hearing from Janine. Again, I haven't written you back. I double-clicked, and I gave you a little heart on what you wrote, and you're super interesting. I had 0 time today. But I feel like we're like long lost sisters. Janine is an amazing person, and I don't know, I want to get into like what she wrote me so we can have a conversation about it. But my son and I spent time making sourdough bread today. He found a really quick and easy recipe instead of having a starter that you keep hold of for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. He found a 24-hour sourdough bread recipe, and the only ingredients are water, wheat, and optional, a pinch of salt. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So we spent hours just kneading the dough and waiting and letting it rise, and it was really intense. Like, there's no rising agent except the yeast inside the wheat. And that's why it takes 24 hours to make the bread. Usually you use the rising agents such as baking soda and an egg, or yeast. There's different kinds of bread you can make. But yeah, my son and I are really excited about this bread. We can't wait. It has a good, it's just forming really well. So, but we're kneading it. You know, we took turns mixing it up with our hands and then kneading it. And we're talking about how relaxing and calming it was to do such an ancient thing that our ancestors did. And it was just very calming and relaxing and really enjoyable. So I had a really good day with my kid. Evening with my kid tonight. It was very cool. And he's like, now you see why I want to get my degree in he's like, you see why I want to be a pastry chef. It's like, I want to learn cooking. And he's interested in both tracks. He's like, let me do the pastry chef one, because that's one I want to know more. Bread artisan. He's like, artisanal bread, And we're talking about what we'd want to do with this information, and we just had a lot of time brainstorming, dreaming about all the cool things we can do and make. And I'm like blown away. This is literally vegan bread. It's literally vegan bread. It's like wheat and water. That's it. It's vegan. It's incredible. Because usually bread contains milk or eggs. It's vegetarian. It doesn't include meat, obviously, but anyway, we're it was good. It was wonderful, but I've been seeing a lot of patterns in people, and then and I just noticed that when someone says something and they're really, really mean, like the guy that said F off to me yesterday, I saw that he was absolutely scared out of his wits. Like in general, in his life, he's really scared. So I asked God to bless him. I forgave him. Asked God to bless him. This woman is she's not scared, she's angry. I think she's afraid of people taking over that aren't Christian. And she's afraid of losing her identity. Which happens when you start on the spiritual path. You're afraid to lose your identity. You get to that. I remember when I was 18 and I first heard about reincarnation. And even though I had memories of past life since I was like 2 or 3 years old, it kind of scared the hell out of me. I thought, well, I had a weird dream and a weird memory, but maybe I was only 2 and just had a weird dream. You could pass off dreams as, well, that was weird, but hey, dreams are weird. You could blow it off really easily, Just like you might see a fancy light in the sky and you say, well, the government says this doesn't exist. Can't be a UFO. Maybe my eye has a little glitch in it right now, or maybe a nerve fired wrong, or maybe I didn't see what I saw. It's easy to doubt yourself and be like an ostrich, put your head in the sand and not remember that thing conveniently, but I don't know, when I first heard about reincarnation, it freaked me the hell out. Like, what the hell? Are you kidding me right now? I thought when I was like around 18 is when I heard about this. And that's when I started my spiritual path consciously. I've been on a spiritual path my whole life. And in fact, many lifetimes I've been doing this stuff. And the more past life memories I have, the more I realize. Like, I've had lifetimes where I was a passive Buddhist. I've had and ended up going to war because I was forced into it after my family died from various things. Then I've always been spiritual in all my lifetimes. I've been medicine woman. I've been, I've been like herbalist. I've been all over the place, not just on Earth, other galaxies. I have memories of other planets. But I remember when I first heard about it, it scared the crap out of me. I mean, I would stand up and defend Christianity, to the death practically. And that's what this woman was doing. So I think she just started her spiritual path. And it takes people like me, Heyoka crazy wisdom, to get them thinking about things that they don't want to look at because it's scary, it's terrifying. Because when you start playing around with people's core beliefs, they're going to start to freak out. Well, you got to be careful. And I will take responsibility if God comes back and tells me, well, she's gone off the deep end, then I will have to sit and do Ho'oponopono, healing her mind, and whatever's in her body. She's got a lot of stuff that I see her riddled with guilt and not forgiving others, but also not being forgiven herself, because that's the energy she's stuck in. I feel it. It's like, bleh. It's like like mud, like caked on, packed on, dried out mud with more mud slung on top of it, which it makes sense why she's slinging mud at me and whatever. I'll probably try to do some healing for her. Just imagine a big dome over the whole Mormon tabernacle, whatever, and heal everybody there. But I did put her in, I imagine like a dome over her, like a glass dome that had like mirrors, but only for her. Not to expose her to the world, anything she's done, but just so she could see herself. And I did a visualization of that yesterday, and because I wanted her to see who she truly was. And today she showed me her true colors, and that's when she personally attacked me and my beliefs, and then she attacked all Muslims all over the whole world, and then defended her position as a Christian in America. And that was like weird. She took it to the political level, and inside her body is wrapped up over 200 years of history of hatred and anger and very unchristian-like behavior. That's her family legacy stuck in her, and she's starting her spiritual path. I feel it. It's like a little teeny tiny cracked open in her exterior shell of who she thought she was. The light poured in, and now she's pushing back to close off that light because she didn't want to see the truth. Light is truth. Light is information. But once you start to see it and you crack that outer shell and you start to burst out of it, you crave the light. You want more of the truth. Anyway, it's just the way, that's the weird stuff that's been going on. I've had one spirit visit me today. Hunter came back, hung out with me for a few. It was pretty cool. He said he'll be back later. We always have such great conversations, and he always cracks me up, and he always cheers me up, and it's just crazy. My twin hasn't really been talking to me too much. I'm seeing things in my room, seeing things in my house, like a lot of energy. I'm starting to awaken to more energetic patterns and forms in my room, but it's mostly like fairies and angels and the cool beings that are hanging out. I haven't heard from any ETs today. Yesterday was a surprise. If you didn't listen to yesterday's show, go back, because I started the second half of the show and I got really scared, which normally that's not me, but I wasn't expecting it. I got like kind of freaked out, and all of a sudden 2 beings appeared in my room and I could see their outline, and they were telepathing with me. Totally, they come from totally different worlds. In fact, I saw a star today that is the name almost of the world, and it's from the Pleiades. Is a little guy. He's blue and gray, and I think that might be where he's from, but I've got to go back and listen. I literally saw a star. I didn't even know the name of the star. Alcyone or Alcyone. I think they said something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but towards the end of the show yesterday, I was like, I went on to like an autopilot because I was bombarded by massive amounts of cosmic radiation. And we are due tomorrow morning, the next 8 hours, to get massive amounts of cosmic radiation again. As well as from the sun, the solar winds will be flowing in. Today there was no solar wind. I'm looking on spaceweather.com. No more coronal holes, at least for right now. We have another new cycle sunspot on the sun, and it's a member of the new solar cycle 25. We're not yet out of the solar minimum, but it's showing signs of life. They keep hoping. Hope springs eternal, baby. Solar wind speed today, 291.3 kilometers per second. So it's slowed way the hell down since yesterday. Very slow solar wind speed, but there's no solar winds coming our way. And we had, only 8 fireballs over the United States today. And I'm trying to see, it went down, I think, according to the Oulu, Finland neutron counts. I just saw it, and I'm like scrolling up and down the page trying to figure it. Okay, here we go. We're still at very high, of course. We're at 10.6%, and it's down by 0.2% in the past 48 hours, so very high amounts of cosmic radiation. Now, this is something beautiful. The comet Swan is brightening rapidly, and John Drummond of Gisborne, New Zealand, said that he was able to see it with the naked eye, barely though, but it has increased in brightness dramatically from a few nights ago. So if you guys want to see this beautiful, glorious, it's like emerald green with a bright, kind of like between an electric blue and cobalt blue tail. It's extremely long. It's really beautiful. Like, I don't know, Comet Swan. It's really beautiful. Multiple observers have now been able to see this. They think it's a 5.5 magnitude brightness, and it's within the range of naked eye visibility. Much easier to see if you have your own telescope. But if you want to see it right now, I mean, there's an actual picture of it. They took a picture. It's beautiful. Beautiful colors. I love this. And they say right now it kind of looks like a dim fuzzball to the human eye. It doesn't look like much. It is coming our way, though. It's going to go between, I think, the sun and Mercury, they said the other day. But this is a beautiful picture. They say that the comet's tail is so long it couldn't even fit in this guy's field of view. And he says it's about 1.2 degrees long. I don't know how long that means in miles or kilometers, but anyway, so I'm trying to see if they have any. Yeah, they don't have more information, but if you want to go check it out, spaceweather.com. It's absolutely beautiful. So the Schumann Resonance has sped up again on disclosurenews.it. They're at 76 over there in Italy, so that's pretty awesome. There's a lot of white on the page. And I don't know what is happening with HeartMath. They're just, it's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's still March 4th is the last date they showed. And like 4 days ago, they had April in there. So I still haven't written to them. I've been busy with my kid. Our groceries showed up. We had ordered groceries. And our normal person was supposed to come around noon. And instead, another person we didn't know didn't call, shows up at 9 in the morning and starts knocking on our front door. And then our instructions is we will only get the groceries through the window. And so my son yelled at him, go down through the window, go downstairs again, go through the window. It was on the instructions. You didn't read the instructions. And then the guy packed the thing too much. And it broke our apparatus that we pull up the groceries. It broke. And my son was so pissed off, and he had to put on his gas mask and go downstairs and pick up the groceries that fell. The worst that happened, though, was our bread got squished and a few crackers broken. But I don't know, we ordered a lot of food so that we would be good to go for the next 2 weeks. Because in 5 days, we no longer have, or 6 days, we no longer have quarantine. But we're scared that there's going to be a second wave, and we thought, well, let's stay inside for another week or two, maybe even a month, just to make sure. Because if a second wave comes, I don't know. I really want to go outside. I think the day that quarantine is over, I may just open my bedroom window and sit in the sun for 10 minutes. But we're so that's what happened this morning. Like the first thing, so my son was like kind of pissed off about it, and he had to go all the way downstairs. He had to breach our sealed door, and then of course we had no tape, duct tape. So I had to give him money so he could go down to the mall and get more tape. And the cops stopped him and told him he couldn't wear shorts outside. Apparently that's a new regulation no one ever heard of. You can't wear shorts. Screw you. Of course I can wear shorts. What the hell? I guess because, the cop was like, you can't go inside corral with shorts on. And I guess most people don't want their bodies to be sprayed with bleach water. But my son's like, I knew it was going to be a risk. That's why I'm wearing my old swimming trunks. Because he could just get home, throw them in the washing machine, hop in the shower, and it's bada boom, bada bing. As opposed to being sprayed with bleach, wearing jeans that might bleach the jeans, right? So he was just fine. And he's halfway down to the mall. He decided to walk because it was a beautiful day, and he hadn't been outside in forever. And so it was kind of like that moment. And he has this massive mask, and he added 6 filters to it. So it's really long, and it looks like a 1918 pandemic mask, the plague masks that look like a bird beak. I mean, he literally, it almost looks identical to that. It's really freaky. Everyone else is just wearing a little cloth mask over their face. And my son's like, it's not good enough. I'm not going to get sick, and I don't want to get you sick. So he's like a survivalist, and everyone else is just not taking anything seriously. So he ended up going to a hardware store with a dog and an old man. He had a little face mask on, and he was just hanging out, doing nothing. And he bought some tape over there, and he came back and retaped up the door and took a shower and did the whole thing. But he said, Mom, it felt so good to walk around outside. Oh my God, it was amazing. So he was really grateful for that. And then he made some amazing bread for us. And then tonight we made the sourdough so that we could bake it tomorrow night and have it for Friday. But I don't know, it's just really, today was a good day actually. Aside from weirdness from people. Not even that much today. But other people did post. I read Instagram for like 30 minutes, not even, maybe 20 today. And a lot of people did express that they had a lot of anger. So if that was you, it is an ascension symptom. If you're getting really angry and fighting with people, and if people that are asleep are fighting with you, that means they're starting to wake up. A lot of people wake up crabby. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm going to read lesson 285 from A Course in Miracles. ACIM.org is a website for the Foundation for Inner Peace, where this comes from. It's absolutely free. You could get an app as well. But here it is, lesson 285. My holiness shines bright and clear today. My holiness shines bright and clear today. Today I wake with joy, expecting but the happy things of God to come to me. I ask but them to come and realize my invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which it has been sent to me. And I will ask for only joyous things the instant I accept my holiness. For what would be the use of pain to me? What purpose would my suffering fulfill? And how would grief and loss avail me if insanity departs from me today, and I accept my holiness instead? Father, my holiness is yours. Let me rejoice in it, and through forgiveness be restored to sanity. Your Son is still as you created him. My holiness is part of me and also part of you. And what can alter holiness itself? My holiness shines bright and clear today. Again, that's lesson 285. If you want to go check it out, ACIM.org. That was incredible, right, guys? That was like everything I was just saying again, and I didn't know. I always load this up right before I start recording. I don't pay attention to what the words are because I experience it at the same time as you. So that explains a lot, though, doesn't it? At least for me it did. Anyway, I hope that helped you. I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, Brother Yeshua is with us. He's in the house. He's coming, and he's going to... Yeah, Jesus is coming. He's coming back, and he's going to be here in like 5 minutes. And anyway, he wanted to speak to you guys today. I don't know what of. But he wanted to address the crowd, the collective, as it were. So I'm going to telepathically channel with literally the Christ consciousness, original Christ himself, Jesus. I'll be right back right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, so before I get started, I wanted to mention that I'm doing this at 3:33. I believe 33 is a Christed master number. So 333 is, excuse me, kind of along those lines. So, also I've seen 555 several times today and 222. So if you're looking for angel numbers and, excuse me, if these have come up for you, then definitely there's just more confirmation. It's a sign for you. I was very, very cold. And now I'm kind of in the middle now. I might have to pause this to take off my sweater. But anyway, if you have been listening to my show for a long time, then you already know this information. But it bears repeating if you're brand new to the show. I am an indirect channel. I channel information via telepathy in real time. I don't allow entities of any kind to take over my body. So I remain conscious while I am conversating with the person who I'm channeling. I would not be having a problem with Jesus taking over my body because I'm comfortable with him. I've known him my whole life. I am not a Christian. Haven't been a Christian officially since I turned 18. Quit Christianity like immediately after. But Jesus himself wasn't a Christian, so it's honestly has nothing to do with he has nothing to do with the religion. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm sorry about the coughing so much. During the break, I was having a little bit of an asthma issue, and I just got Anise tea delivered, and it's opening up my lungs, and it's making me cough a little bit, but I feel quite a bit better. So I'm grateful for that. Anise is not the best flavor in the world. I mean, unless you're absolutely in love with black licorice. But if you do have asthma or someone you know has asthma or any kind of lung issues, anise tea is helpful. Anise essential oil, if you take 2 drops under the tongue, you could do this 2 to 3 times a day. If you are constipated or have asthma, both of those things. If you do it too much, boy, it'll give you diarrhea, so you gotta be careful with it. But just the anise tea is milder, but it will open up your lungs. And if you are a mother who is breastfeeding your baby and you're having a hard time with your baby has colic, taking 2 drops of anise per day will go into your breast milk and your baby will no longer suffer from colic. So it's a fun tip for you. Also, anise tea might help, but it's one of those herbs that if you do it for 2 weeks, you need to take a 2-week break. Otherwise, it will depress your central nervous system. So there's my public service announcement. But anyway, that's why I was coughing. So there are people that are channelers that are direct. They step aside, they allow the other entity to take over their body. That's just too freaky for me. I just don't do that. I'm a Virgo. Maybe that has to do with, maybe that's a reason why, but anyway, I have already connected with Jesus, brother Yeshua. I call him Yeshua or Yeshua. So I'm going to use muscle testing in case I don't hear something clear from him and I'm trying to get confirmation or, get an extra sense of what he's saying because I want to be accurate. So I find that muscle testing, kinesiology, actually helps me to communicate clearer with the entity. And I will let you know if it's a question I'm asking. I'll say, hey, it's me, Elena, asking this, versus, so you don't think that my words are his words or whatever, because I'm not a direct channel, my voice won't change much. It might a little bit, because I'll try to match the cadence and rhythm and speech patterns that the person is communicating to me with. But I'm not, I don't allow the person to take over my body and take over my vocal cords and change everything completely, like what happens with a lot of channelers. So, all right. I'm starting to warm up. This always happens when I connect with the spirit. But I connected with him and I got really cold. So I don't know. It might just be this energy coming our way from the cosmos. The solar radiation should begin here soon. That's the gamma rays. Excuse me. All right. Oh, man. Yeah, it's like my lungs, it's like I'm having movement in my lungs. This is good. Anesthesia doesn't taste good, but boy, it's really good for you if you're having issues with your lungs. All right. So, Brother Yeshua, am I connected with you? Muscle testing says yes. And you may begin your transmission now. Greetings to one and all, my beloved brothers and sisters. It is I, Yeshua, or Yeshua. Many of you call me Jesus, or in the Spanish-speaking world, Jesus. I am like your big brother. You don't have to be religious or a Christian to believe in me. In fact, many people around the world believe in me that have nothing to do with religion at all. I appreciate that. It's kind of a vote of confidence for me, I suppose, but that's kind of he's plucking, by the way, this is me, Elena, talking now. Spirit, I did forget to mention, the spirits will pluck information out of your subconscious mind that are familiar phrases for you, or, for me. And so if I sound like Jesus, or Jesus sounds like me, in this, today in this channeling, what happens is he's pulling out information from my subconscious mind to help you guys to relate to him better. And also so that I will understand him better. But the energy of what is being said is correct. But just every now and again, it might be something I just said like an hour ago or yesterday, and it's like, wait, what? So, but if the gist is the same, then the spirit will pull out information directly from your subconscious mind. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I needed to clarify that. He says, okay, no problem. Okay, go ahead. Let's continue. All right. So, basically, as I was saying, many of you do give your love and your energy to me, and you ask me for help in also having Christ consciousness. Ironically, most of the people that ask me are not Christians at all. They're not religious at all. A lot of the people in the enlightened and becoming enlightened community, a lot of people that are in the New Age community, as most of you call it now, or the collective. Basically, most of you who believe in me have been asking me to come and teach you how to become more enlightened, and I've been asked to show many of you how I did my miracles. So we're going to talk about that today. I spent all of my lifetimes learning what I learned. And I spent my last lifetime applying what I learned. It's nothing that you can learn in an hour or a day or a year. And yet it's something that once you're enlightened to a certain extent, the knowledge will come to you in a heartbeat, or in the time it takes a flash of lightning to occur in the sky. A lot of times it's information you already knew, you've already gathered and learned throughout many lifetimes. And so by the time the information comes to you, you think that it just came to you in a flash, but it's really something you've been studying over the course of several lifetimes, as well as your time you spend on the other side in what you guys call heaven. If you're on a spiritual path, and you've been on a spiritual path most of your adult life, or if you're brand new and maybe you're in your 20s and you're brand new to this, what happens is you've been here many times before, you've been studying the stuff for many lifetimes, and you might suddenly have flashes of insight, and certain things start to occur in your body. Your DNA changes, your body will change shape, your DNA will change form, not that you can see it, or even, for the most part, know what was know what is happening. A lot of people have DNA changes all the time. They just have no awareness that that's what's happening. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not necessary to be consciously aware of DNA changes while they're taking place. You will find out soon enough when you go through your life, and then every day that you've just come back through from the DNA changes, you'll just say, I feel a little bit different today. I feel better. I feel great. Sometimes your DNA changes will make you feel tired and run down and weak, but that only lasts about a day. So if you are having a day where you're feeling weak and tired, my suggestion is, and it's the conference of those of us in heaven that hang out together, many ascended masters hang out. It's kind of like our ascended masters club. But we all agree that what you need to do when you start to feel these feelings of you feel out of nowhere tired, you feel like you want to take a nap, you need rest, you're overwhelmed, you're fatigued mentally, in a fog, and your DNA changes are taking place, it's better if you just take a nap. If you give in to that nap, you sleep right away, usually that sleep will be very, very deep. It'll be very focused and pointed, and you might only sleep 20 or 30 minutes, but it feels like 8 hours because your DNA upgrades itself really quickly. And when it is upgrading itself very quickly, that's when you get those cosmic power naps that you all have been talking about. It is a DNA upgrade, download, light code. Those are the buzzwords in your community. So we like to use the words that you're familiar with. But we'd like to say that it's quantum changes on the matrix in your body. The electricity that flows through your body naturally, the electrical mechanisms, they'll spin one way, and then you get the DNA changes, and sometimes they'll spin the other way, and sometimes only some of your molecules will spin the opposite way. Some of your atoms will spin the opposite way. But it's in a pattern. Not that you would recognize it, but there's certain DNA changes that happen and the patterns are occurring. And it's not like you can understand what's happening when it's happening. You just feel tired. And even your scientists aren't sophisticated enough yet to understand exactly what's happening. But sometimes it's chaotic. And it usually is chaotic for a few minutes, up to 30 minutes. Sometimes an hour, depending on the person and what kind of shape you're in, what kind of spiritual recognition you're in. Not everybody recognizes this as spiritual. They might think that they have diabetes suddenly or some horrible disease, which doesn't really exist, but people think that, and they go to the doctor, and the doctor says there's nothing at all wrong with you. And I quite concur. There's never anything wrong with you, but in the world you've just come from, the third dimension, there's a lot of talk of being ill at ease or diseased. So that's what we've been trying to do. It's like we're trying to work with you and speak with you and function through you when asked. And at the same time, we see that you're not able to maintain a conscious level of awareness during these downloads, light codes, upgrades, as you call them. So if you just take a quick nap, you're going to feel better. And every time you get these changes that occur, every time you get one step closer to Christ consciousness. And every time you have a massive overhaul of your DNA. Usually this happens when there's a lot of bombardment from outer space, whether it's from the sun or the grand central sun or different heavenly bodies that are doing what they do. You've heard about the pulsar waves and the sonar waves and the magnetar, and the comets coming your way also give off a certain amount of energy. So all of these things are conspiring in your favor, as they say, and your DNA gets closer to Christ consciousness with each passing wave. So you can speed this process up along by meditating, focusing, being mindful, forgiving yourself, not engaging in arguments with others, and not doubting yourself. You have to have positive, radiant, joyful vibrations around you. And when you meditate and focus on getting to a higher level, you will. You won't have to wait for the next personal and emotional disaster. You can just access it yourself by raising your vibration and keeping it up there and not allowing other people or circumstances or even places that you might find yourself in. You make sure that they do not affect you. So Christ consciousness is also achieved by, besides meditation and focusing on positive all the time, is that leaning back exercise, leaning onto your own soul. That would be a big help. Just being a part of something greater than your physical body and yourself will bring you to a level of understanding that will at first seem like you're outside yourself. And once you get closer to the idea of expanding your consciousness to the greater cosmic awareness, you're going to start to see things. You'll know things, you'll see things, and all in your world will completely change. Your energy fields will start to change. You have to keep your auras clear, your chakras clear. Clear the energy in your room. There are many programs or meditations or visualizations or music or incense. There's all kinds of ways to clean the energy in your room. So you could just look it up, search for ways to raise vibrations in my house or ways to lower levels of anxiety, negativity, and spiritual residue that's unwanted. There are ways that you can employ these methods, and this will help raise your vibration faster as well. So when you employ these methods, such as if you're a witch, you use a broom to sweep out the energy. If you work with herbs, you might have a potion for this, herbs or essential oils that will raise the vibration of a space, especially rose essential oil. And different oils have different vibratory rates. But you cleanse and clear the energy space, you raise the vibration in your space as well as in your own body. And you might not have anything in mind, but just expect miracles to occur. If you expect it, even if it's the tiniest, ittiest bit of a miracle, and if it's coming your way, and if you don't impede it with your own blocked energy, you're going to start seeing a much greater picture. You're going to raise your vibration. You're going to see things that other people just don't see. And all of these things lead to Christ consciousness. All of these things do lead towards your ultimate goals, which is what I always wished for you. When I said you can do all this and more, I meant all of it, everything I did. I mean, walking on water, even raising people from the dead, if you got to that level. But if you did get to that level where you could do that, you would realize quickly that that's not a very helpful one. And most people that died, it's their time. And really, you think that? Okay, I'm sorry, this is Elena again. You said hubris. He says he thinks he might have had a little bit of hubris in that one. He was able to do it, but he's feeling a little bit remorseful over that one. It was his time, but it was one of his exit points. And that's the only way that you can raise someone from the dead, is if they're not on their final exit point. We all have 4 or 5 exit points in our lifetime, and if we've already gone past all of those, then nothing can stop you the next time you get close. That's it. So during these exit points, there's always a potential of death, and there's always a potential of life after death. And it's not always provoked by another person raising you up. It's generally provoked by your higher self. Your holy guardian angel will usually come and tell you you have a choice. You don't necessarily have to die right now, or if you do die, you don't have to stay dead right now, because this is simply an exit point. This is kind of a release valve if you're under too much pressure, and earthly life is very hard, and we understand that. That's why God made it such that there's a way to get out of it. You have 5 exit points. And when we say get out of it, we don't mean suicide. We mean just, you might get into a car accident and you might die, and you're told, Do you want to live, or do you want to move back to heaven? And if you want to live, the car accident, you might end up in a coma, but then you'll come out of it and you're fine. And this is what we mean by exit strategy. So the world might have two versions of what happened. There might be a parallel world in which you did choose door A, and in the second scenario on another timeline, it'll show that indeed you chose door B. So maybe A would be just you're going to heaven to see all the people that went before you, and you're done. Your exit point, you took it. And sometimes you'll be given an opportunity to go visit people in heaven, but then they'll say, okay, now it's time to come back. So there's going to be two versions of you in the world with every exit point. So, all right. Do you want me to talk about that? Okay. So he's saying, even if it's not an accident and and you feel suicidal and you do whatever you were going to do to end your life, what happens is sometimes there's the buyer's remorse of that. You feel bad and you realize that this is not what you really wanted to do. You weren't aware of how serious the consequences of this were. And you might make a decision to come back. So now there's going to be a parallel world in which you succeeded and you left the planet and you moved to the heavenly realms, and there's going to be a part of you, another timeline, in which you made that decision and then you said, oh no, and you came back right away. And there might be another timeline in which you never had those feelings at all. You are multidimensional beings, is pretty much what my point is here. Everybody is a multidimensional being. And you're going to start seeing different parts of the matrix, as it were. You're going to start to understand how things work. And everybody has a different jumping off point or starting point. Every person has a different level of understanding, even though you're all in a way of ascension. You're all on the spiritual path towards ascension right now. But maybe one of you will end up being able to multiply loaves of bread. Just think about bread, and all of a sudden it's bread everywhere. And some of you, most of you won't ever get to that level. Or you might, but you don't know it or you don't think about it. And some of you are obsessed with walking on water, so you're going to practice that. And that might be the piece of the puzzle you get first. And some of you don't believe that any of these things are possible, and you think it's just a story. And even though you might actually have the ability, you won't be able to even know that you have the ability because your mind won't allow it. So there's no one way, there's no set of lessons or instructions of, all right, lesson 1, walk on water. Lesson 2, calm a storm. Lesson 3, multiply loaves and fishes to feed a crowd. And lesson 5, raise the dead. And lesson 6, learn how to curse fig trees. All those seem positive except for the last one, right? So, all I can tell you is if you expand your aura and you focus on your chakras, all 12 of them, not just the main 7, don't put your consciousness in your 8th chakra and then just give up on everything else. Because there's a lot more to learn. You might have been at this for 30 or 40 years, but there's still a lot more to learn. I am your big brother. I love all of you, and anytime you ask for my help, I will be there. All right, guys, sorry about that. I just went somewhere. Wow. Can't explain what just happened. I just hopped up a dimension right there. I don't even know. I hope I was not gone for like 5 minutes or something. It's probably like 2 seconds and you guys didn't notice, but I left my body and I went and I was in a white bubble with Brother Yeshua. And there's like pink, like a very gentle pink color. And we just started having a conversation about this, like a deeper conversation. And then all of a sudden I popped right back down here and opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I just saw a massive in my room, just a massive flower of life. It was huge. It was tall as my bedroom door. And it was very wide. It was like, whoa. Ooh, and everywhere I looked, I saw parts of it. Like when I looked at the door, I could see like an overlay of the flower of life over the door and over the wall. And it's just... All right, so he's going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that now. The flower of life is a very sacred symbol, and it is in the design and manufacture of your world and the third dimension, as well as the fifth dimension. So it is very sacred. You're not saying object, right? Okay, it's a very sacred symbol, and it's very real, and it's very active. It's not just a cool symbol that stands for something. Or how weird is that everything fits in perfectly to a flower of life. Everything that's balanced and whole fits directly into a flower of life. You could pick out points on the flower of life and outline the thing that you're thinking about if it's positive for you. I don't know what he's saying here exactly. Okay, in other words, if something is balanced and wholesome and will help you along your spiritual path, it's going to have a balance to it. And it'll fit in sometimes the seed of life, but definitely the flower of life. If it fits into that and it's balanced and equal on both sides, then it's good for you on your spiritual path, basically. So don't put symbols on your body that are very unequal or uneven, because you don't want anything to hold you back, even if it's just a subtle drag on your movement forward. A lot of people get tattoos that are deeply spiritual, and if they're a balanced symbol, that will physically propel your physical body forward into the fifth dimension. It's not necessary. You can draw if you want. You don't have to get a tattoo. It's painful and expensive, and many people think it's egotistical, but it depends on the reason you're doing it, just like anything else that you do. But all of the miracles you've read about in all the books that were written about those of us who lived in the Himalayan mountains, and we're still there. Mother Mary is there with me, my mom. All of these people that you've read about that are extremely high vibration live several dimensions up above the Himalayan mountains, but we can manifest and help you if you go there, and it's meant to be. We can help you manifest in a higher rate, a higher dimension. So I don't know what he's saying now. I think he's just pausing and thinking. Okay, so what else? The world is your oyster, as they say. You're going to have a time coming up soon that you can manifest absolutely anything you want, and very rapidly. And we're going to ask you to control your thoughts, sit in meditation and silence as many times as it takes to be able to discipline your mind to not manifest things instantly. You're going to be receiving more and more cosmic energies in the weeks to come. You're going to receive more and more downloads, upgrades, light codes in the years to come. Many people in the world are changing. Many people in the world are only now awakening. They're now starting to wake up. Please have patience with them, and if they say things to hurt your feelings, please don't really regard it as how they really feel about you. It's pretty much how they're feeling about their set of circumstances. They've just had the rug pulled out from underneath them. When people believe a religion their whole life, and there's several people, several generations in a family that have this, it's going to take some time for the undoing to occur. So if these people are around you and you're watching it, just secretly send them love and light. Think about when you were first learning. Be honest with yourself. Be open. Remember who you were when your spiritual initiations started to occur. If other people are acting like you used to act, don't consider them to be just immature and blow them off. Just understand this is a process. It's a spiritual awakening, and everyone awakens at their own pace. And it's no reflection on the level of enlightenment you're at or the level of spirituality. It's not like one person has become awake 15 years ago and her neighbor became awake and had an initiation a week ago. They could both be on the same exact trajectory, but they're just opening and awakening earlier or later. But you're all on the same path. You're all ascending. The people who are not ascending, most of them have already been removed from the planet. Everything is fortuitous timing. All right, I just got, another flashlight. Wow, that's wild. Okay. All right, so Brother Yeshua just showed me an image. I just left, and he showed me, like he's standing at my side, and I was looking like into a bubble universe, and I saw a little boy seen alone in the corner. He's wearing a red and white striped shirt and blue short pants. And he himself had black hair and pale skin. Alright, so he's telling me right now he wants me to interpret this for you. And he was sitting in a corner. So, like with his nose against the wall. And he was stubbornly refusing to do his homework. Now, if you guys can't figure out the symbol that I was just given, I'm going to tell you. Red, white, and blue represents the United States. The United States, the majority of the people there are not heeding the warnings about the virus. They are staying in their corner. They're not staying in their corner. They're not doing what they need to do. The boy's hair is black, which is a sign and symbol of ignorance. As far as color is concerned, they don't want you to think that it's, like all brunettes are ignorant. That's not true. It's just a symbol or a metaphor for this. whereas white is symbolizing of being enlightened, and in the middle, gray is the path of wisdom, and only ignorance is depicted in, he's saying, like in the tarot card. This is kind of like the tarot card. They got together and decided to put the clues and the symbols in the tarot cards in Fez, Morocco, and it ended up watered down into playing cards and different things, but the symbology is very powerful, and he's showing it to me in this way so that I will understand, because I took classes in a mystery school that was for the Quran and the Holy Tarot, and not the Quran, I'm sorry, the Kabbalah. Oh my god, I knew it was one of them Q words, sorry. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, Kabbalah. Okay. So the boy was sitting in a chair. His legs were at a right angle. And that is a nod to the emperor who rules his kingdom, but because this is not a grown man, it's a little boy. So spiritually speaking, the United States is still a fairly immature place. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you're not in that category, so please don't take offense. He's telling me, please, he's not trying to offend anyone. He's trying to show the metaphor. So eventually this little boy will not feel like he's being punished anymore. He will stop crying or complaining or feeling bad, and he will get up. He will walk away from that scenario that he's not liking. He will grow up into a man and become spiritually mature. But in the meantime, there's a professor to show him and teach him. And he says in most cases, a lot of the people waking up right now are Christian. So as far as Brother Yeshua is concerned, he's going to be the one they call upon. What's happening to me? I feel weird. I feel crazy. The doctor says there's nothing wrong. I'm having all these symptoms. Those kinds of conversations are going to start to occur. So he's asking if you could just have patience and love and understanding for the people that are religious. They were clinging to the religion as if that was always the right thing to do. And sometimes for them it is, and sometimes they recognize that organized religion is a trap and it holds you back. He's saying there's nothing wrong with... Did you just say that? Okay, he's saying there's nothing wrong with doing the jitterbug as long as the foundation upon which you dance is solid and pure. But if there's holes in the floor, you fall through the cracks. So, what does that mean? He's talking in a lot of rhymes and riddles today, so it's like, what? And he's like showing me, like pulling me out of my body and showing me these bubble universes or these ideas. They're fully like straight up metaphor, and then slamming me back down to my body, and I'm like, oh my god. Was I out for 10 minutes? I don't even know, right? So hopefully there's not a lot of spaces and holes in this, but I keep going into a very deep trance-like state, and I don't know. Am I talking? I don't know. It's always tricky when I do this real time, and this is why, Brother Yeshua. He says, I know, little sister. So he's showing me, like, if you're doing the jitterbug, and he's just saying that because it sounds funny, and you're standing on a rug and it's got like holes in it, or it's dirty, and your foundation you stand upon is dirty, then you're likely to fall or get diseases or hurt yourself, in one way or another. And there's a lot of things that, if you dance on a rug, like dust can come up. You can have problems breathing, and you yourself to death on your own dirty foundation. Even if you're dancing, you're saying you're happy. How happy can you be when you're going to hurt yourself with your own malbeliefs? He's saying your malbeliefs, your wrong beliefs, your wrong foundation. You should only dance on. He's showing like a hardwood floor, like at a gymnasium that's bright and shiny, and everything is intact. The floor isn't squeaky or rotted out. It's like perfect. It's a solid foundation. If you dance the jitterbug or any kind of dance on a floor that's a solid. And what he means by dance, he's saying that's a metaphor for life. You're all dancing about your life. Whether you're why are you showing me this? He's showing me like some really old-fashioned things. It's stuff that's in my mind. It's kind of funny. Like in old cowboy westerns, when somebody is like being approached by a villain, the villain will pull out a gun and say, "Dance, dance," and they like start shooting at your feet or shooting at the guy's feet, and the guy has to like literally dance, like to get away from the bullets, to avoid being hit. So Brother Yeshua is showing me that there's that kind of dancing where you're just like, you feel like if you don't stop moving, you're going to get somewhere in life. You're going to be fine. And a lot of people live their lives in fear. And so there's that kind of dancing. There's dancing around the truth, dancing around, lying in spite of evidence that points to the fact you're lying. There's dancing like trying to, it's almost like the plates on the sticks, trying to keep them going. Da 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 da. I don't know, I can't sing, but I think you guys know what I mean. He's showing me those kind of dancing, and he's showing me people are joyous and free and dancing and loving life because they are the ultimate dancer in the universe. In the Holy Tarot, it's a world card. You're really showing me a lot of metaphors from the tarot today. He says yes, because it is the book of life. The original ones in Fez, Morocco were written or drawn to literally symbolize every possible point of man. And the major arcana especially are like for all the things that men go through. All the positive things that men go through. And then the minor arcana hold symbols of all the things that can go wrong. When you're not on the higher road, the major arcana is like the higher road. When you're not on the highest level of integrity to your soul, that he's saying that's when you're gonna start getting into the other aspects. Okay. All right. Anything else there? He's saying, I wish I could give you the exact instructions. You do X, Y, and Z, and now the loaf of bread will appear. He said that, and I saw a golden, I don't know, it looked like a golden rod appeared in my room, and then it disappeared really fast. Oh, that was really cool. It was really beautiful. Literally like 24 karat gold rod just appeared, and then it was gone. So, as your strands of DNA are reconnecting, and as things in your body they'll spin one way and spin another way, and it's not just in your physical body, but in all your bodies, all your subtle bodies. You've got your emotional body, your spiritual body, mental body, and there's, for lack of a better word, there's particles that are not physical, but they're in those bodies as well, and they also spin in different directions. The different particles, and they will line up in different patterns depending on where you're at, what you're willing to receive, what you're willing to go through, what you're willing to heal, what you're willing to move forward on, what you're willing to face about yourself, what you're willing to face about humanity on a social, political level. All these things are factors in every single part of your and also if you're filling your emotional body up with too much emotions and you haven't cleansed all your bodies. It's not just about taking a bath in your bathroom or a shower. You've got to cleanse and be responsible for all of your bodies, not just the one. He's saying, sorry to say, because it sounds like so much work, but in reality, it only takes a few minutes to do this every day. And when you keep your mental body clear, then you're not filled with mental clutter. When you keep your astral body clear, then you can go to new adventures instead of having muck and mire holding you back and giving you nightmares and attracting the wrong element to you, or like literally elements. He's saying it could be malevolent fairies, if not downright like, demons or devils can be attracted, or jinns that are angry at humans. Like if you keep having dreams or adventures in your astral body or your ethereal body, and then you will like have a bad idea, and then it keeps going and it builds up and like mucks it up. So you just imagine that all the energy just goes out and all positive energy flows in to every single one of your bodies. So with your emotional body, you don't want to keep feeling the old emotions that were so sad and depressing. You don't want to keep rehashing that when you're already over it. So you need to drain all the negative stuff and just cleanse all of your bodies, he's saying. Just cleanse them. And when you cleanse your emotional body, you'll feel that pure and you'll feel clean. Just like when you're squeaky clean coming out of the bath or the shower in your house or apartment. So when you do that, you allow your emotional body to be opened up to the joy of living and of life and of the God creational energy. You open your mental body up when it's cleansed to the new ideas. That's when you get ideas like the phi ratio and the golden mean and sacred geometry, and from the Shri Yantra to the seed of life, you're going to find that heavily inspired ideas will start to flow your way. So just cleanse all your bodies all the time. Cleanse your aura and your chakras, and don't focus only on the 7 chakras now. You are a 5th dimensional being. You need to focus on all 12 chakras. You need to focus on expanding your aura. Keep focusing on loving everybody, loving yourself, loving everybody. When you have a judgment of someone, time to cleanse your mental body. It might be an old residue. When you have a negative thought or anger towards someone, it might be your emotional body. You need to clean that residue. And if it's still there, then that's a little bit of a glitch in your own personal matrix body that you need to heal that. Your goal is to become pure and clear, filled with love and nothing else, because that's what your spirit is made from. So focus on cleansing your aura. We find that the energy of gold is very powerful. Silver, if you want to use silver, you can use colors that you consider to be metallic. These are high vibrational colors. So like silver, gold, platinum, those are the energies. Even rose gold. He says even copper, for some of you, will be more appropriate. You can use colors too, but the metals, but especially gold, like a golden white light. But if it's bright gold and you imagine that is coming and burning up all the dross and the negativity and all the things you don't need anymore, what happens is you find yourself on the Christ path. and you can be like what I was when I was there. The Christ energy. The miracles will start to occur naturally. They did for me. It took me many lifetimes before I could get to the miracles. By the time I got to the miracles, I was always in the beginning shocked and surprised it was happening, but I wasn't enamored with it. I didn't have emotional attachments to it. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, look at me, I'm walking on water. It was just, it became a natural state of being because I could see the matrix. I could see it with my eyes, with my higher vision. Not my physical eyes, but my higher vision. And as I could see everything in the matrix, it was just very easy. And this is where you're headed. Each and every one of you is headed this way if you're on the ascension path. If you're not, you're probably not going to hear this anyway. But keep trying, keep meditating, keep going your own way. Ask God to help. Symbols like the tree of life, the Sri Yantra, they will help you. The flower of life, seed of life, all of these things will help you because they're from life itself. That's another word for God. So, I love you very much. I am Brother Yeshua, or Yeshua, and I walk at your side when you ask. If you want me to come and help you, I will be at your side. I'm a multidimensional being. I am able to be at every single one of your sides. So don't worry about occupying my time because I have the ability to occupy all space, all the time. I could be at the side of 1 million people at once. So don't worry about asking for my help. I will always be here because I'm your big brother. And I'm just here as a way shower to show you what you can do with your life, with your soul, and how to raise the world. That's all I'm here for, is to help. I'm your big brother, but also your humble servant. I love every one of you very much. With the God in me, I bow to the God in you, and I ask that the good Lord give you his blessings always and forever. Thank you for choosing this path. And he's saying amen. All right, guys, that's it. All right, that was pretty cool. I hope I didn't have a lot of moments where I was just checked out. That was super fun, Yeshua. Thank you. I love you so much. So there you go. I love you guys. I love you so much. Thank you for having your faith in me and in my abilities. Every time I do it, I think I get a little bit better, hopefully. And I'm just here learning as side by side with you guys. So I'm doing my best to also be your humble servant along. I'm along for the ride as well as you guys are. If I'm a leader for you, it's just temporary because we're all in the same damn path. Like, seriously, you are either ahead or behind me, but we're all on the same road. There are a lot of people ahead of me, But if you're brand new and you're just waking up, hopefully my information will help you. Come on, let's go up to the mountain together, baby. We're going to get up there. We're going up to the 5th dimension. I'm already here. And you're either here or you're on your way. You'll be here soon. I'll put a kettle on. We'll have tea. Anyway, I wanted to remind you, if you haven't added me, my account is because my little girl, when she was a little girl, wanted to be a mermaid. So my account is Mermaid Girl 888 on Instagram as well as Twitter. So it's a sweet and happy memory for me. But she's a grown woman now. But I've had this for 20 years. I've had this. It's my email as well. But metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com is my email if you want to get in touch with me. I haven't looked at it in 2 weeks, so it takes a while. It's like I've been too busy. But I will get to it eventually and get to you eventually. Please tell all your people about me. Anyone who's awakening up, your spiritual groups on Facebook and whatnot, let them know. Set your calendars for July 1st if you wish to vote for me for People's Podcast Award. But right now, signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Till next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.